Alright, this is my setup for milling up lumber with my Alaskan mill. I have some adjustable sawhorses here that I made from logs that I got from a big storm here. I also made a table where I put the logs up on, get them off the ground, make it nice and easy to work. And I got my other sawhorse on the other side. I have my rails, which are 15-foot 2x6s. And the staging area for my logs. So I'll show you in a few minutes how a shell works. So now that I have the log up on the bench, or the table, whatever you want to call it, I'm set for my first cut. As you see, it's a little bit of an angle, but my saw is lined up at a good spot. We're nice and level here. The table, by the way, is level to the ground. And we're level here. And we're level on the other side. Now, a few things that you might want to note is, due to the diameter difference between the big end of the log and the small end of the log, I've used a piece of 3/4 inch board to raise it up a little bit so I get a little bit more of the log in the cut, as well as I have angle iron that sits on the table to hold the log from rolling. On my adjustable sawhorses, as you can see, these are just the ends of the pipe clamps, and then we have the pipes connected to the uppers. We adjust those, and then we hold them in place with a big adjustable clamp just to keep them from sliding off. Another little helper I have here to keep my top rail from wiggling back and forth like so. On the log here, I take a screw and I just screw into the log a little bit. It's going to be a piece of waste, so I'm not worried about the hole. And it just simply holds up against the side here. You know, we can move it, but it just keeps the saw from pulling the top frame while the cut is being made. Looking at the setup of my saw, you'll see that I'm running a steel. I'm running an 044. Got a 36-inch bar on it. A little bit big for that machine, but we're nice and careful with it. Make sure we don't overheat it. As well as I got a chain that I've made into a milling chain by taking off the half of 2 teeth and then leaving 2 clearing cutters, half of 2 teeth, 2 clearing cutters. My external oiler, I made my own. I made a banjo bolt, which I then connected via some water fittings to the old squirt bottle that is perched upon 2 hockey pucks held to the riser by a large hose clamp. It may look a little goofy, but it works extremely well, helps the bar run cool, and keeps the chain lubricated. So we have finished our cut, and now we have the first piece of scrap that comes off. You can see that we just kind of put it down. A little ramp there. You can see lots of scrap in the background there. And you can see what we're left with. We have a nice log here that has the first cut done. Now that I have a 6-inch slab, what I've done is I've put some spacers in there, and I have a right angle block that I use to help square it up. On the other side, you can see I got a rod that I put in there, hold her steady. Then I set back up the top plate, or the top frame, and I re-level it, put the saw back on it, and strategically find a good place for a cut, and fire up the saw and cut it. Okay, so we'll skip ahead a little bit. Now I've finished all 4 of my cuts, and I have a nice cant that is 6 inches wide, and we will cut her down in a little while to our 2-inch size. So now that I have my logs cut up in the cants where I can start making them the correct size, which is going to be a true 2x6, I gone through a few already, and they look really nice when they come out. The dimensions are surprisingly good for a chainsaw cut. Now you will notice that I no longer have the 36-inch bar on the saw. I've shortened it up quite a bit, and this is a 20-inch bar. And as you can see, let me see if I can get a good picture of the chain here to show you what I mean by my ripping chain. Let me unlock my brake. So, as you see, okay, right here, we get in kind of close, see if that focuses. This tooth here, I've ground half of it off. Likewise, with this tooth here, I've ground half of it off, and I've filed it at approximately 20 degrees. The next cutter I've left whole, but I've filed that to 0 degrees. And likewise with the next cutter here, it is filed flat at 0 degrees. Well, not all the way flat. You can see there's a little bit of angle there, but I didn't want to take my chain all the way down. It's the only one I have, and I got to make it last. Now, the width of all the cants I'm cutting now is 6 inches here. So what I've done is I have made my Alaskan mill here so that it is just slightly over 6 inches. It keeps everything neat and tidy, not too much play back and forth, and it makes it really easy to run it through and keep the saw steady. I'll show you now just how fast this part goes. You actually have to be a little bit careful that you don't push the saw too quickly, because it does like to cut very fast. And without the external oiler on the end, I found that this bar gets up to temperature fairly quickly, so you don't want to overheat it, don't want to burn it. And by the way, this is a ES bar, Rollomatic ES, so this is the solid bar with the laser cut groove in it. And I find that these work much better, last a lot longer. So I'll show you how she does. you can see, I mean, that's only a what 6.5 foot log, but that chain really rips through it. So, and you can see dimensionally my lumber, just over 6, which I planned for, about 6 1/8. Then thickness wise, we're about 2. If we go to the other side, you can see we're still 2 1/8. Nope. Now, if you look at our squareness, you can see that we are fairly square. I'm very surprised for this being cut with chainsaw. It is surprisingly square. So, very happy with the cuts. This lumber is going to be used to rebuild a play fort for the kids, and hopefully it'll work good for them, last them a long time, and be nice and solid and warm for them. When I get more updates and start maybe doing some other kinds of wood, because I've done some oak and some maple and made those into some furniture pieces. When I get some of those, I will post those up as well.